Moment of calm with last night's digest and another one. Morning. Hard work fully being seen, showing how to clear our anxiety, our processes, The only constant is change. And language and words are limiting. But we've learned over the last almost 4 years since the seizures, I, being the conscious eyes, who is actually Zanoni Snowflake Purcell, paperwork's been posted off. So we just got to get that back, and we've got our new name, our new vibration. There have been so many physical acts, be it a symbolic act or not, it's an act that works to change the patterning, change the frequency of our past traumas, our past life, our past belief systems that have been programmed into the body, into the matrix of the body, the connective tissue. We've been on this journey 22 years since we first attempted suicide at 18. And we learned a lot with that, of the effect of our actions on other people. And we saw how it really hurt people, and promised ourselves, myself, I would never do that again. And boy, has it been a long journey since then. To navigate through all the different pathways of pain, to get to this place of connection and bravery and courage in this moment, to be truly who this human body, this host body is, with acceptance for best I can, that I am Zanoni Snowflake Purcell, host body Neve Deborah Coleman, and all of us alternate personalities. And it is such a beautiful gift to have what society calls a disorder, what society calls a lot of things, autism, dissociative identity disorder, which is the new name terminology for multiple personality disorder, the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, the EDS, fibromyalgia, processing language disorder, and it goes on. The suicide was kept a secret. It was called gastroenteritis, and like lots of other stuff in my life, kept a secret. And from our perceptions as a child, I've learned now from going through this experience of the last almost 4 years since the seizures, that was medication induced as a reaction to the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And we believe a reaction to the 10-month previous ayahuasca journey that we did. But it's the beauty of the fibromyalgia and the EDS creating these sacs in the body to hold these poisons, these toxins out the way. But they need to be cleared. I've been on the self-awareness journey since then at 18. All of the alters before we were brought up very self-aware. Don't walk like a penguin. Pronounce your T's at the ends of your words. Very grateful for that. So a lot of the alternate personalities are very self-aware. Don't know what we're talking about now. That's obviously what we needed to talk about. There's been a long journey to understand about my smoking of marijuana and my marijuana use as well, which didn't start till I was 18 or 19. No alcohol or drug use really started till I was 18 or 19. Touched on it a little bit at 15 for alcohol, and I think 14 was my first smoke of weed. But didn't need it. It was like, I suppose I don't remember, but I suppose I didn't like how it made me feel, and I knew I didn't need it because I knew that I was unique anyway and different anyway, or what others might call a bit crazy. But I was just very, very different and very, very unique to everyone. But it was 19 when it started, really, lots. at university. We were getting our foundation, we were getting our education, we were doing what we thought we had to do. But that was a perceived outside belief system that you needed to get your education and you needed to get your education and your grounding and your foundations of life before one could move on with it, because life was tough and life was a challenge. But that's a belief system, and we can choose what to believe at the end of the day. And this is acceptance, because although I still find it very hard, I'm very lucky that anyone that is on the self-healing journey, the self-awareness path, a path to connection, a path to fulfillment, a path to happiness, whatever you want to call it really, then I don't know. So we're leaving that one by the looks of it, because I don't know where it's going. We're talking about language and connection. It's connection. It's all about connection. And the external world, and I always found this really hard to understand and perceive, because we were so literal and we were perceived as being pedantic. But it was the autism, it was the rigid thinking, it was the, we believe Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, EDS, it's a malfunction in your connective tissue which goes through everything. And we believe that that's an umbrella term for lots of things. And we perceive these things to be disorders and a negative. But what if society has got it wrong and it's the opposite? I mean, in science and maths, we started to, even though we strive for the highest thing and we want the biggest portion of food, or we want that, when science started delving into atoms, they decided to look at the 0.001% of matter that we could actually see. But we live in a see it to believe it society, consciousness, age. So why choose something that we can't? That's where we're backwards. So this is why we watch our stuff back and we do this, because then we can see where we go wrong with our wording and we put the wrong words into the wrong place. But we chose to analyze and experiment on and start our science and our maths on the 0.001% of what we could see and feel. But that is the smallest part. The rest of it is space. So if we've got that wrong in science right from the start, and we're on a major shift in the way that the individual perceives and understands, and there's enough of us now to have the bravery and courage to show ourselves authentically and to speak out about the way we perceive the world, even though it is so different to the masses. Because once one has enough unconditional self-love, unconditional self-respect, self-trust, other people's opinions and judgments and assumptions doesn't matter. Because this is what we just said a minute ago, actually, where it's sidetracked. Because we now know from the journey, the really massive, long journey that we've been on, delving inwards in these last 4 years, being locked inside, witnessing the body do things and being taken over by someone that's not the conscious I that I've known or been aware of on my journey of self-discovery and self-awareness up until then. It's a very frightening experience. And there's a lot more people going through it, because there's a lot of people that are super sensitive. And you've got your high functioning autism and you've got your low functioning autism. Now, low functioning autism is where you're completely locked inside and you go inwards and you cut off the external world, because the external world is too much to cope with if you're hypersensitive and you get overstimulated by everything that's going on, and there isn't a collective of people that are unconditionally compassionate and accommodating to your needs when you can't express your needs. But how can that be the case when we work on a collective of society that doesn't understand their own needs? Because if we don't understand our own needs and our own healthy boundaries, we can't understand someone else's, especially if they don't have the ability to communicate them. So that's the low functioning autism. The high functioning autism goes out there and can do the world, but they have to cut themselves off from their body and not be in their body. And it's about being in your body, being in your heart, and being in your mind. But one can't be in their heart if the heart's so broken that you have to cut your heart off. You don't want it to get broken again, especially if you still want to go out into the world. So how can you open your heart up, not be affected by the rest of it when you're still healing and haven't got what's going on inside? But anyway, this is what the last 4 years has been about for us. I'm realizing no matter how hard it is, the DID is a gift. I mean, it's all about getting into your inner child, being able to perceive as you would when you were a child again, from a child's perspective. And I don't know, maybe that is easy for other people, but for me, having an internal deaf, blind and dumb model and not remembering things or past in the conventional way, it's just all energy and feelings, but energy and feelings as in sensations in the body, how the physical body feels, not how the emotional body feels and those types of feelings, because they're too stressful for us. That's words and language, and we get so confused again. So it's really hard connecting. It alters child's perspective. So for us to understand, seeing it from the internal child and to play like a child and see from a child's perspective of this new fresh beginning and insights without preconceived judgments or belief systems just like seemed impossible. And my life, no matter how much I delved in and questioned and did things, it never made sense. But when I heard about the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, it's like, whoa, we feel like we tick off loads of stuff. It's starting to make sense again. And it turned out we had that. So we needed to gain the labels to gain the understanding. But we don't like labels, but labels just are what they are to help you understand yourself or to help others understand you, but not to get caught up in the words and get stuck in that. And we're lucky that we never had any of the labels apart from the processing language disorder when we were 19, because we were a victim of circumstance many times. But we weren't and aren't comfortable with being in the victim mentality, in the victim energy state. But we live in a society where it's the three triangles: parent, child, adult, victim, perpetrator, rescuer. So if you are in one energy state because another person's fulfilling another energy state, and you don't want to be in that energy state, you have to take yourself away from the situation, the environment, epigenetic Bruce Lipton, that is causing that energetic state. So if there's another person fulfilling the rescuer role, then you have to be the victim. So if you don't want to be the victim anymore, you either have to be strong and adult and whatever to communicate it and verbalize it to the other person of what's going on. But if you don't have any of those abilities to do that, and you don't even know what's going on yourself, then the subconscious steps in. And the subconscious is 95% of us, our heart, our body. And when we step into the subconscious and our central nervous system as well, and we step inwards and look inwards. So when you close your eyes and you're meditating, that's an internal meditation, internal reality, internal world. When we open our eyes and meditate and look outwards, it's an external reality. We're connected to our environment. So there'll be some people that get very uncomfortable with closing their eyes or opening their eyes when they're with other people or when they're on this. I mean, I've watched and observed some of the people that I've been doing the meditation groups with, and I say I, but it's not I, it's the subconscious alters, they're correcting me inside, who watch. They'll look at stare at your lower back for ages, go, oh God, they've got a great sacrum, and oh, look at their collarbone, isn't their collarbone good? And oh, look at and they're the ones that watch the body, they watch the biomechanics of the body. But because it's not about the lift your shoulders up, back, down, of it doesn't work for us now. We've got to do the opposite because we've done that for too long. Up, back, down, forward, up. Better. So I've just done the opposite of what I just said the first time, because what I said the first time is the instructions you give for yoga, being a yoga teacher to the beginners. And it doesn't work for me because we've got to unwind all that patterning that we did that had to break our external body to get us to a core. But now for our core to get back out to our external body, we have to do the opposites of all the yoga instructions. Because our body's our internal body, our external body, and the muscles, the interconnecting muscles. So it relates to your external world. So everyone used to think I had a muscular body and this, that, and we portrayed ourselves to the world on a subconscious level, because this is what we've done from a very early age, as this certain type of person, which we so weren't, but it was a protective modality. And the body will literally express that in its physical form. but it is a complete lie to actually what was going on in the deep inside of the connective tissue, the fascia. And this is the body remembers. All emotion, all memory from your whole life is encoded into your fascia, your matrix of your body. Anyway, we're talking about connection. We were talking about the weed and addiction. Addiction is just a lack of connection from our experiences and the words that in language that we've got to put with that. But this has been a long phase that we've had for quite a few years. So it's quite interesting, that Burning Man Festival memory coming up this morning. Facebook's been great for all of this. And it showed us that we've actually been doing, we started Facebook in, God knows now, God knows when actually, but maybe 12 years, 2008 maybe. But one of us obviously learned at a young age that what you put out there and what you write, any form of expression that we do is going to hindrance manifestation and stuff coming back in if there's any kind of negative connotation, victim mentality, beliefs, whatever. So we learned long time ago that how to correct our speech, our language, what we wrote to the best of our ability. I didn't know there was like a fuckload of us that we had to get through with all of this. And that some of them would be like 2 or 6 or 4. And I've not got kids, and I've never been good at being around kids. So I don't really know how to speak to kids. It used to terrify me holding a baby. But I'm going to make an awesome parent now, I tell you, because due to the traumas that have happened, the emotional, physical traumas that have happened, specifically the sexual, emotional ones from the sexual abuse at a very young age, 4 and then 15, the body goes into so you've got your fight, flight, freeze mechanism. The people talk about the fight or flight a lot. It's the old reptilian brain, the bit between the left and right hemisphere, the bit in the middle, your primitive, your primal state. Now, we've got all of them now since I've learnt, but originally the main one, the core one, is a freezer. Now, when that freeze is happening, the brain has just gone off into, and each alter, so if you can say alternate personality, if you speak at it in the language of psychology and the brain. But if you speak of it in the language of the body and the emotions, each emotion belongs to a certain part of your body. So if you open your arms up and open up vertically, you're releasing yourself of depression. All fear, trauma and anxiety gets held in your pelvis. So when you open your groins, like when that's when people normally have tight inner groins. When you open that up, especially males, crying, emotions, a flood of emotions will happen. So when you speak of it in that terminology, and then you've got your gut brain, which does all your emotions and your chemicals and your moods. So the fascia between your gut brain, which is your stomach, which we slept in this last night because it keeps in the neck and the Adam's apple, because the Adam's apple is the reverse, the connecting opposite of the figure of 8 pattern in the body that goes to the big expansive stomach. So men generally, if they've got a really strong Adam's apple, would just get a belly of fatness as they start getting older. And that's the like looking like they're pregnant. And the belly of fatness when they start getting older is the outward bigger expression of the small contraction of the inner Adam's apple. So the Adam's apple needs to be loosened to create slack and take that tension and that tightness away, that stress, that resistance, to put in their belly so they can get more tension and resistance in their belly to turn it inwards and then spread the rest of the looseness out for the rest of the body. So there's a connection between the whole of the connective tissue and the fascia in the body. So it's your light body on the nervous system, energetic, electromagnetic level, on the energetic electrochemical level, which is your circulatory system that takes the chemicals from your gut brain up to your brain to tell your brain what to do, to send the electromagnetic signals through your nervous system. Your electric magnetic signals from your brain to your nervous system is more connected to the energies. It's a higher vibration. So the lower vibrations becomes into your physical body, matter, which we live in a matter body, but there's a lot of it that isn't matter. So your circulatory system of the chemicals is a step down. So therefore the gut brain and the nutrients and the chemicals that go from the gut brain to your brain to tell it what to do, in one perspective, is more important than functioning on the brain first, like we do in this society. And one thing that we've observed and learned is that people that are more in their brain and not enough in their body, and they're disconnected from their body, tend to go bald early, and their hair goes grey early because there's been too much energy used up there that needs to go to other places. Now, for us, that's like, we've been in our brain heaps and the rest of it. Let's, yeah, but we've been in our brain in a stunted state of consciousness, generational consciousness, at the ages that the traumas have happened, with a mask on, because autism is great at copying of the older ones, which is why we haven't gone grey earlier. So I know people younger than me that have gone grey earlier and stuff. So this is a card where we got this from, and it's the figure of 8. So you've got the smaller, you've got the big, what's the mirror thing here? So you've got the smaller figure of 8 here that goes into the bigger figure of 8. So it's like Adam apple in your stomach and vice versa. And the body, on the way the energy flows through the body, holds this energetic pattern. So that's why we've got the scarf on, to hold the apples and apple in. And we do it when we're sleeping, because when they're sleeping, there isn't the conscious mind game involved. And we've managed to establish healthier sleep patterns now as well. And rather than always putting the supports and the stuff on around the pelvis and around the waist, for instance. And it's specifically red, using colour therapy, because and we learned this from, oh my God, tarot's been amazing. We learned this from the tarot. So when you've got number 5 on the major arcana, the faith card, or a few of the others, they've got red hats on. And they've got the red hats on so that when the energy from Mother Earth comes up through the root chakra, which is red, which is grounding and foundations, it will come up and it doesn't go out completely. The red kind of completes this seal of keeping it in, so that then it's good to have purple on your bottom half, so that then when the purple crown chakra universal energy comes in through your crown chakra and flows down, you don't lose it out the bottom and you can keep it in again. So I'm just going to hold that card up again, and I'm going to read this card out, because this is number 1 for us to watch back, because it's how we gain our connections, our understanding, our fluidity of all of this. But it's also us maximizing output. So it's they started it when I was in the psych ward, and it's the live reality healing show. It's showing us through our transitions, through our progressions, down into it a bit, but not too much, because we don't want to put too much traumatic stuff out there and show our victim stuff too much, but it will happen a bit. But not luckily, I think now we do it when we're able to sound our way through it. So that's what the starting point was, clearing the anxiety, showing the movements, face yoga, sound yoga, because although we've used the tuning forks and all these other tools, we don't need any of it at the end of the day. We have everything in this body to be able to do this ourselves. So I'm just going to read this out, and then I'm going to pick one. This is from the Odin and the 9 Realms Oracle. We've been doing our living by the moon. Our first living by the moon was doing all up on the top shelf there. You've got all the jars. That's full moon water, new moon water, cleansed with shungite, crystal chakra charged, getting the energies of the moon at that time, which relates to a certain zodiac sign. We've been understanding the energies in the body through spirit science and the 7-day transformation, which we've only been able to do the first 2 of, which talks about elemental consciousness, your elements, fire, water, earth, air. Air is the spiraling energy movement that's created by the lungs. Water is the downflow energy that goes down. Fire is the energy that goes up. And then earth's just the still grounded energy. But before all of that, you do actually need space, because without space, you can't fit all of this in. We've then been doing our 44-day online meditations with Sealed with Love. So the first one was Soulshine. When that first one ended, we started then doing it backwards, so 44, 43, 42 in the morning, and forwards at night, so that the sleep processing and stuff could go on. There were 6 days left of us being self-disciplined, doing that ourselves before the next 44-day online sacred contracts meditation started. So we were doing the 3 at once. And we're now today on the 42nd day of that 44-day sacred contracts. So on Wednesday, so I said today was this major start of a turning point, but Wednesday will be where the inertia and the momentum will really take place or not, depending on the actions that we choose to do or not. But we will do it because we've done it before, and we will again do the 44-day meditation like this previous one, Soul Shine, backwards in the morning and forwards in the evening. But this time we will incorporate the Soul Shine one again, and we'll do that online and actually do the written work and the journaling that goes with it. And then when that finishes, we'll do the written work and the journaling that goes with this one, so that we'll have done the first 44-day Soul Shine and this 44-day Sacred Connections. Yeah, that's it. We call it Sacred Contracts, but Sacred Connections 4 times each. The 4th time being where we actually get the pen and paper out and do the journaling, because sometimes we physically can't hold a pen because of the EDS. But the reason behind that is we're in a younger network ultra, and that network brain doesn't know how to read or write and finds it really stressful. So by getting the material in for them, because the meditation re-traumas a traumatized body, especially if you're doing the closed eyes internal meditation. So one has to be really careful. I've learned this through experience. Not many people out there talk about this. Not many people out there know about this. And this is something that is very important and I need to share, because there's lots of people out there. Everyone, the world has trauma. Look at our society. We live in a world that's negative and fearful, because it's not about trauma that we've just had in this life. And whatever your belief systems are, it could be previous lives. It's also the generational trauma. It's the trauma that your parents experience. It's the trauma that your grandparents experience and their parents. So if you've got any connections to anyone that lived in the war or anything to do with Hitler and the Jews, any of that, there is trauma in your blueprint. There is trauma encoded and embedded into your DNA. But this is where epigenetics is so important from Bruce Lipton, because epi means above genetics, which means we are not our genes. Just because we have something in our genes, and even if it gets expressed through the synapses at the end of the nerves, we can still choose to change that or not by how we choose to live our life. More importantly, first of all, on our internal world, with our thoughts and our internal dialogue to ourselves, our compassion to ourselves, our patience with ourselves, how we love ourselves. All of that is most important first, but sometimes we can't do that inwards first, so we have to do it outwards first, and then doing it outwards, and eventually it hopefully starts happening inwards. And it starts at the top and goes down. So all mental, psychological, emotional, sexual traumas finally manifest into physical. The physical expression of form is the last manifestation of the ideas and creative energy that comes into us. Because this energy is going around. It's the electric universe of energy. It's not in us or out of us. It's just flowing through in and out of us all the time. And it's that like attracts like. If magnets repel or come together or repel, and that's all to do with sound frequency. And sound, light, everything is frequency at the end of the day. Sound is a slower version of light frequency. And when people have done all the light work and the light talk, which we've managed now because we've done so many of these meditations and stuff, which really triggers us and it doesn't work, it's like, yes, but we do it our way, don't we? So even if we're listening to something that someone else is guiding or saying, doesn't mean that we have to do it as they're saying. We can adjust it to ourselves. Doesn't mean we have to criticize it and say they're wrong, because they're not. That's their experience. And that's what they're doing because it reaches the collective masses. But there's other levels and other layers. So we can just be, oh, that's experience, that's their truth. This is our experience, we're truth. We're going to take that and adjust the wording or the language to what suits us for us to do it in that moment. Oh God, we're going off on so many sidetracks here. But doing all this and watching it back, we've got the ones that watches our face and our mouth so that we know where to put our tongue to stretch out our mouth internally, externally. And this one at the start is a new one, where you're doing your thing out like a duck, quack, 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 quack. I don't know why that's quite started yet, but yeah, the quack, the duck has come up lots, so that's why that facial movement came out at the start. And yeah, we've literally, well, I was going to say, we've kind of literally got up. We've been up from about 5:30 doing our meditations and stuff. We've just started, so we've done the third one last night of Lee Harris Energy, who does his channeling, because we're not sure what to believe about channeling. We've always been told in the past that we're psychic and this, that, the other, but with all the experiences that we've had and with the way that people word things, we don't know what to believe or take from it. And we've got our own very unique, very rare belief systems and perspectives on all of this. but at the same time we can tap into that energy and take the perspectives and the energy from it, if you get what I mean. And yeah, so it's been really good. So we're doing a lot. We've got the channeling going on online. Taria from Hidden Truth Tarot started a new channel, and she's doing a card a day of all the tarot, so that's really good. And we started our astrology course on Wednesday as well. So we're so yeah, it's great. So if we're doing the channeling and tapping into all these different energies, because work is subconscious hypno learning, it's subconscious learning, hypno healing. It's where you don't do it from the conscious mind, you're doing it from the subconscious mind, the body, the heart. So you don't quite understand it from up here, but you can feel it in the body. And oh my god, it takes all the mind and all the stress and all that away from it, and it's amazing. But it means you can just tap into stuff. So if we're doing astrology, tarot, the meditations from a different perspective, the lunar living and the Bitcoin and all these things, while we tap this in, we're getting a real center point hub to really connect all these different generational consciousness networks in the brain that belong to each alternate personality, that have a different connecting network in the body, and we're actually joining them all together. So it's very exciting. Especially we've got this real vibration and tingling and shaking that's kind of, I can feel it at one place deep in here, then it kind of disappears, but then it comes out on the outside rather than the inside here, and then it disappears, and then down the bottom it's like this kind of real thing going on. Oh, but that's it. We were just watching something on yesterday. That's it. We've been watching a lot of the stuff about the Treruvian man and the circle and the square. So we watched Jane 108 on the Treruvian man, circle and the square yesterday, which is one perspective. But then we watched Robert Edward Grant, and did the last 30-day of his philosophical geometry course, and he was on the Vitruvian man as well. So I've just had two major things come in from that. I don't know, I'm just talking about that again now, but because now we've gone on to the music. Got it, the music we wanted to put on day 3, we start playing, it was day 10, and that made us laugh because it's all about the 10-year cycle. Okay, yeah, right, we're just going to read now because we're getting tired, and the younger ones come out when we get tired. So I'm going to read this os. But for us, the ones that are coming out now, it's about doing it backwards. So it's os is the sound you make to help facilitate your spleen, by the way, which is hugely important. I don't know much about it, but it's hugely important. But we say it, and it's OS. So we get our mantra and then say it backward, SOSO. So the important sound for us to make is O, and it pronounces so. And this is how we learn the mantras for us that works. So os, vessel, signals, spiritual gifts. Os is an ancestral god and a part of the Aesir, AESIR, Aesir. This rune represents the vessel that holds the magic and power of the Aesir. The human body holds our creativity, the fusion of the goddess and gods. Examine the messages and signals you receive. The alchemy of what you do with this information takes place in your body, your vessel. This rune has the potential to bestow the wisdom and magic of the Aesir on those who are listening and paying attention. Look to the divine. And then it says Merkstave, which is kind of like what some call reversed, or some call the challenge, or some call the alignment message. It's called different things. The Merkstave, you are blocked. This rune in reverse tells you that you have a physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual block. Your ancestors have been trying to communicate with you, but you are not receiving their message. When we receive messages or signals, we must keep the vessel uncluttered. Clearing blocks may require you to let go of habits and addictions so that you can realign yourself with the source. In reverse, Os warns that your clutter is causing the interruption. Find your center and reconnect with the divine. So, I mean, that says about changing the patterns and the habits from and addictions and stuff, and we normally do that from our external world. Oh, we've got to stop smoking, or we've got to stop doing this, or we've got to stop doing that. I mean, one thing we sent to our friends was never give anything up. Positive connotations, don't make it hard on yourselves. add good things in, add things in that bring you joy and happiness. And the more you do them and attempt them, the more the rest will start falling away. It's hard if you don't know what brings you happiness or what brings you joy. And we didn't either. But we couldn't do our yoga practice for our teacher training every morning. There wasn't enough time, or well, I understand now why we couldn't do it, but I didn't understand at the time. So we started incorporating yoga into our everyday life. We've become aware of how we sat when we were driving our van, when we were cooking food or boiling the kettle, or in our fan, we'd use the waiting rather than getting frustrated with the waiting. We'd use the waiting to do yoga. So fun things just to give a go is sounding, making any types of sound, making it circular, so you can make it circular through your nose, keeping your mouth shut, but inwards. So can you actually do this? Like, put all your sound breath out and then go. It's quite hard to do, but if you can do inward singing, inward sounding, oh god, I got a really lovely release in my knee there. That was nice. And then make that circular through your mouth. So I changed the patterning then, because the patterning was first to go whereas, so then I stopped and paused and start. Now they will tell you that you might hyperventilate or the rest of it, and that's why you know the limitations of your body and how far to go and what to do, what have you. But that is making a circular pattern through your mouth. So just stop, observe. If you just breathe through your mouth, how are you breathing through your mouth? Just stop, don't do anything, but start breathing through your mouth only. And how are you breathing through your mouth? Did the inhalation come first? Did the exhalation come first? Whichever one came first, stop and then do the opposite of that. So if the exhalation came first, then do the inhalation first. So some people will say straight away when they start their meditations, inhale. So you just inhale first, but you might need to let some breath out before you inhale. So if they do start with the inhale, then and then inhale. If they say breathe in through the nose, breathe in through the mouth. Spice it up a bit, mix it up a bit. So once you can do circular breathing through the mouth, starting with an exhalation first, doing it, pausing, and then changing it so that you start with an inhalation first, and then do the same patterning with your breath, with your breathing in through and out through your nose. And then you can incorporate the nose and mouth together. So breathe out through your nose, in through your mouth. Out through your mouth, in through your nose. Out through your nose, in through your mouth. But then put the sounding into it. And then change the pattern of your mouth. If you make your mouth go wide, you're making your whole body go wide. If you make your mouth go narrow, you're accessing your central nervous system. And all the sound is vibrating all those finer tubes, because we're in a tube in a body, the threads. And that's vibrating through your body. So we learned the connections of this and the integration through our nerve touch Thai massage. That particular massage is you play the tendons like a guitar string. So that's from the outside. So what's happening on the inside when you're doing this is it's like you're plucking the guitar string to cause the vibrations, to do a very subtle clearing of the tubes in your tubular body. And then you can just bring it all in together and play around with it. So those are very important. And we were just shuffling the cards there to get one to come out to do a little reading. The bottom is TIR, TIR. The bottom is the subconscious, the underlying, the unseen. And the conscious, it's an M, which makes me laugh because all my clothes when I was younger had an M on it, even though my name is Neve, it started with an N. And the subconscious, the surface line is the EHWAZ, EWAZ. So I'm going to read the one that's up there. I'll just read the brief bits of these. So the underlying subconscious, the reason why we do it but we're not aware of in ourselves, was tear, which is, bear with me, be patient, make a bit of sounding, have a little shaking. Shaking is the oldest and newest form of healing. you get to that monotone, because that means that I think I've got the center point. So that's or a point of clearance. So TYR, tear, is sacrifice. So I don't know, sacrifice, surrender. So that's the I don't know if sacrifice is surrender, but we just made that connection ourselves. So it's one for us to learn. Is the underline. M is the top, the surface, the conscious. And that, what's the last one? That is transition, changing, circle, seasons, which is just like perfect and very bang on for what we're kind of talking about and what this is all about. And the one that jumped out at us to have was the Freya. I think we know someone called Freya. Oh, it's a perfect one to jump out. Look at that. Freya. Love. Freyja is the only female named for the Vanir, a group of demigods that represent fertility. The Vanir once rivaled the Aesir, another dominant group of gods. Oh, that's the one we just read. Oh no, that's what was in it, wasn't it? Another dominant group of gods that included Odin and Thor, but eventually became a part of the Aesir. Etymologically speaking, Vanir means friend in Scandinavian languages. Freya is the object of desire for the giants. She embodies love and fertility. She is a powerful shaman who knows the form of magic known as Sadir. The ability to use this kind of magic means that she can determine the fate of men and women, cause ill health, and even arrange death. She rides into battle in a carriage drawn by cats and takes half the dead with her to the great hall called Sessrumnir, located in Folkvangr. Freyja's husband, the Norse god Odr, often led her alone, and she would cry tears of red gold. At the same time, she has been accused of being a lover to all of the Aesir, elves, giants, and dwarfs. By drawing this card, you invoke a powerful goddess known for her sexual prowess throughout the 9 realms. Freya's card puts you on notice that your sexual energy needs to be grounded and not misused. The greatest magic is our ability to embody divine love. Do not mistake your power for that of a demigod. You are responsible for your karma and soul's journey. Freya teaches that love is the most potent magic throughout the realms. It's so important that many of the gods have borrowed her cloak of falcon feathers for the purpose of bestowing fertility, love. If you find yourself feeling alone and unloved, ask Freya to envelope you in her falcon cloak and receive the gifts of her magic. Mexdev. Freya's card in reverse suggests the mysteries of your sexual power and manipulation of others. Take care to set your course on integrity and truth. Freya teaches that even if you are an object of desire, there is no need to be reckless or irresponsible. Freya, drawn in reverse, comes with a warning. Switch your focus to the highest vibration of love and transcend your earthbound experience where it didn't. And for us, it's not about transcending earthbound experiences and stepping out of the body. For us, and trauma, anyone with a lot of trauma, it's about re-entering and stepping into the body. So that was a lovely, beautiful read. Thank you. We needed to hear that. And whoever else is brought to this will be needed to hear that at this moment, because that's how the frequencies work. And then we've just got daily healing. So we're just going to do a little daily healing one. They're tiny. And then we're going to read these 3 out, which are the lyrics of the meditations, sound healings that comes with the transmissions course that we're doing with Lee Harris Energy. 2 that haven't come out yet are play and flow. It's amazing how what's out there is so synchronistic to everyone, but different people have their own perceptions of that vibration, because play and flow, space and time and peace are very influential to us, but they're on a different level. So there's one on time, one on space, and one on peace. So we're just going to read that out after these, and then we're going to show you this, which is what Spirit Science and Tap Patch Tarot does on this circle of all the major arcana and minor arcana. So in the middle you've got some of the arcana of the tarot, like it'll be all the princesses and all the aces, all the pages and the aces, and then it's split into 3 on the quadrants. which are major arcana. Then you've got your planets, your dates, and then these, but we'll go into that in detail in a minute. No, we won't. We'll go into that detail now because we already have done, apparently. So on the outside, you've got all the queens, kings, and knights, and on the middle, you've got the aces and the pages, and then you've got major arcana, the planet that it relates to, the date that it's in, and then your minor arcana. So if I was to look at this now, yesterday was the last day, which was August the 12th to August the 22nd, because today's the 23rd, and so that was the 7th of Wands, which is this one here. And it relates to the King of Discs. So the previous 2 weeks were the 5 of Wands and the 6 of Wands, which related to the Prince of Wands or the Knight of Wands. And then as soon as you step into the 7th of Wands, it gets related to the King of Discs. And this is just another way of expressing energy and frequency and archetypes. But it's one that works really well as that for us. So we've stepped out, and so those planets were Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars. So we've just stepped out of the 7 of Wands in Mars, which is passion and Leo. We think passion's the sun, but this is going by Patch Tarot, so there's probably one of his cards that actually says passion. And then it's the Princess of Wands and the Ace of Wands in the centre, and that's for the whole quadrant of this year. So if you do quadrant, that's 3 months. For the whole 3 months is this, which is a season. So it's obviously split into seasons, because lunar living, you can get seasons, and then you get a month which is related to one zodiac sign, and then each zodiac sign with the moon goes for each month. So it's to do with the planet rotations, the planet alignments. It's all connected to the macro, to the micro. So we stepped out of that. So when you relate that to these cards, it's the 7 of Wands, which is the 7 of fire. That's the good tarot. If you do the witchcraft one, which is our miniature one, that's the 7 of Wands. That's what we've just stepped out of, and it was ruled by the sun, number 19, which is the new day for our birthday, because it's the 19th on Wednesday that we put our new birth date on. The 19th of August is the Noni Snowflake Sal's birthday. And that's the sun, 19, in the Everyday Witch Tarot. I'll show you why we're doing the both of them in a minute. We haven't got the bigger picture ones, because the bigger picture ones. So, but we are opposite to the collective. So this is what he's done, and this is the collective of everything. And we've known that we've been backwards from it. This is the 7th here that we're in. But when you do the opposite, you're going across, all the way across here, all the way across here, up to this one. And that's how we function, which means you're going back 6 months. And it worked, that made sense, because the energy, if you think of the vortex going down the water plug hole here to the southern hemisphere, it's opposite. It's clockwise one way and it's anti-clockwise the other. But the poles are actually shifting. So I'm wondering if the way the water goes down the plug hole will shift. So, and when we went back to New Zealand, not when we went back, but when we went there the first time, it was like we work really well down there. So obviously the energetics of down there work really well for us up here, whereas we're a bit backwards up here. But that is February the 9th to February the 18th, which is our birthday was February the 15th. And it's the 7th of Swords, and it's in the King of Cups, and it's with the star. So it's with number 17, the star. That's in the Good Tarot. 17, the star, and the Witch Tarot. It's the moon, which is the energies of planets that it's related to. It's the Ace of Swords and the Princess of Swords in that quarter, but we'll show you in a minute because that's the bit we're going to show you now. And it's the 7 of Swords, 7 of air. Good Tarot and the Everyday Witch Tarot, which are really miniature. And this came to us again when we were in one of the real energy loopy things that we had to we say energy loopy things, but it's like when the energy is really strong and we're, I don't know, we're not in our mind and we're in a body, or we're too much in our mind and not a body, or both of it and all of it at once. There's just too much going on. And this is what happened before the psych ward and getting put in. This is our healing process. We've got a massive scar that the fascia has been had to be ripped and slipped open on, and we hadn't eaten for like a week or drank for a week. And if you haven't eaten for a week or drunk for a week, you know, you become dehydrated and elusive into all these transient states of consciousness, which we were in anyway, so that got amplified. So yeah, so basically we work good on the opposite. So what we've done, and this came out a few days ago when we were in one of those energetic states. So but it must have started up here because it's got to be a few weeks ago. So we learned that, and then this has come back out again. But this time they've actually yesterday, another one of these moments, they've put it into the board. They've used the little minor ones because they fit on. So on this board, you've got down the bottom, so this is the collective consciousness. So if we look on this first, we put this kind of here, if you can kind of see it there. So if you look on this, on the collective consciousness, you stepped out of the Seven of Wands into the Eight of Pentacles. Now people talk about the 8-8 portal as well. Now the 8-8 portal was on the 8th of August to a lot of people that they say it, but we tend to do, and that might be in alignment with the Sirius star and the planet, but on numerology we've been doing it so that the 8th of the 8th to the 8th of August was the opening of the numerological portal, but the closing of that portal was the, oh no, it's not was because it's not past yet, is it? No, it's future. So the 26th, so on the 26th, which is Tuesday, because 2 and 6 add up to 8, that will be the closing of the 8-8 portal. And on the 17th, because 17 adds up to 8, that's the central pivotal balance of the 8-8 portal. Now, yesterday was the true for us from another abstract perspective of how the younger ones do it, how 3 is half of 6 mathematically, but it's half of 8 visually. So yesterday was our true 8-8 portal. So if you add up, so yesterday was 22nd of August 2020. So 22 is a double dose of patience, which is intuition. 22 is intuition, made up of a double dose of patience, 2 equaling 4 perseverance. So yesterday would have been 4, 8, 4. And then if you leave the 8 in the middle, which is the connections, and put the other outer 2 together, you get 8, 8. So yesterday was the true 8, 8 portal day, where you're including the year's energies, not just the day and the month energies. And then if you look on this, which we just discovered this morning, which I mean, it just makes us smile, it feels so good. So we stepped out of the Seven of Wands, but yesterday was the King of Discs, so today we're still in the King of Discs, or this whole week we're still in the King of Discs, the King of Pentacles, but the week to this week is focused on the 8 of Pentacles, which is great. And then it's the Sun and it's the Hermit, still ruled by the Princess of Wands, Page of Wands, and the Ace of Wands. But if you go to the opposite, it's on the 8 of Cups. So it's always the same, like yesterday was 77, and 77 means spirituality. But the 8 of Cups is now what we're focusing on for this week. So Cups is emotion, Pentacles is grounded. So you need to stay grounded with your emotions. Whereas the Sevens and the Sevens are growth, the Swords is the mind, and the Wands is fire, passion. So it's like growth in the mind with fire and passion. So it'll all blur in the mind. So when that's the case, you really need to go into your body. So whatever the collective energies are outside, one then needs to do the opposite in their body to counterbalance those energies. So that's what this board's about, basically. So the collective is down here. So it's the Ace of Wands and the Page of Wands on the collective that we're in with this state that function the whole 3-month season. It's the 9, the Hermit, which we're very pro-esque at that, which functions these next 3 weeks. And then you've got currently we're in the 8 of Pentacles. You've got the 8 of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Pentacles. So in this week of the Hermit, the first week is focused on the energies of the number 8 of Pentacles. The next week is functioned on the energies of 9, but we're still in the Pentacles. And the following week, still in the Pentacles, but focusing on the energies of the vibration 10. The overlap is this week, it's the King of Pentacles of energies that we're in, but the next 2 will go into the Queen of Swords energies. But we work on the opposite. So this is the collective energies at the bottom, but at the top, we have the energies that we work in. So at the moment, we're working in the Ace of Swords and the Page of Swords, which functions the moon, and it's the moon that we're on now out of the thirds. And then the moon goes over these next 3 weeks. So you've got the 10 of Cups, which is opposite. We start backwards here as well because we're doing the opposite. So the first one's the 8 of Cups, then the 9 of Cups, then the 10 of Cups. So the 8 of Cups goes to that 8 there. This one goes to that one there, and those in the middle. So you've got your figure of 8 section. That's how it works out. And you've got the Queen of Wands for the 10 of Cups, and then you have the King of Cups that does the 8 of Cups and the 9 of Cups. So anyway, it's a bit clearer, but I think that's really beautiful and really fascinating. It's just such a wonderful, creative exploration or way of connecting the dots and healing in our body and our mind. And it sure has been a puzzle to understand what all this is and to get there, but this is what went on. They really created quite a puzzle and a game before we got put in the psych ward, which would have been so much fun to actually where have we gone? What to do these now? Which would be so much fun. So yeah, it's like our body, our words, our language, all we ever want to do is feel good in that moment. And our body, our words, our language will create us to believe whatever we need to believe in that moment to feel okay, whether that's our truth or not, and whether it resonates with the collective truth or not. And DID is the biggest of denials going. Which means, you're lying to yourself a lot. So I've really, just had a release there. Sorry. We've really had understand about how we lie. People lie to themselves, and they don't know they're lying to themselves, and that's why it's called denial. But it's time for us to step out of this denial and this lying to ourselves, especially if we have kids, because we're affecting our kids, because kids grow up and they work on energy, and this is the kids coming out, they're being creative. So I'm honoured as an adult to have been through all these profound, horrific experiences that I would never have chosen, by the way. But now they've happened, I'd never turn them away. But if you still had me back in my family with Dakota, I wouldn't choose to go through all that I've gone through to get to this level of insight at all, because it's not an easy journey. But they go on about spirituality and the airy fairiness of it all, and it's not. Spirituality is aligning yourself, which is your thymus tap, that's really good, to your own internal rhythms and cycles, to understand them, and then to make your own internal rhythms and cycles to align to the external ones of the seasons, of the weather. And for women, it's the menstrual cycle, and that was our best birthday present, because for the first time that we've been aiming for, because we knew that would be a physical sign to us that we're getting aligned. That means so much to us after all we've been through, because it means that we're what they might describe as getting to the light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know, we've got an internal deafblind deafblind and dumb processing model, but for us I think that might mean, because the light doesn't work for us, I think we might actually just be able to probably get singing really beautifully, and that's our light at the end of the tunnel, maybe. But yeah, on Wednesday, when we got home from seeing the solicitor and posting the paperwork off to change our name legally, we started our period. And to bleed on a new moon means you're in sync with the moon and you're in sync with nature. So we're getting in sync and aligned internally with our own rhythms and patterns and understanding, and with nature. And that means so much to us, it really does. And our modalities and our methods of getting there are none. They're little bits that lots of people have heard of, but putting them all together, they're none that anyone's heard of, and that's what we've got to share. But that's why we need to be extra flexible, strong and balanced in our body, so that we will be in our mind, so that then when we go out into that world, again, other people's assumptions and judgments won't affect us energetically, because people don't need to say anything. We feel the energy. They don't need to say or do anything. We'll feel it, but we will know how to manage our own heart, our own energy, to not let that affect us, because we also know that people's judgments and assumptions and opinions and what they say is just a reflection of their internal world. They're just not aware of it yet. So this is just great for us because we're going to be starting to get out into the world again, and after almost 4 years of isolation and losing everyone and having to lose everyone, but that's okay because now we know only healthy vibrations that are aligned on this same awareness of love and wanting to grow and be the best versions of themselves will come back in again. Sadly, that doesn't include people that I want to be back in again. Someone, you know, certain family members that we've wanted to embrace and done everything we can't, but we can't do it anymore because it's physically hurting us and we have to cut them out. But we did beautifully have a conversation with another family member, our language ex-stepsister. So it's not by blood or anything, but she is there, and it was only a few years we lived together. But she is my through and through soul sister. And I love her so much. Because she's the first person to sat there and just go, yeah, I'm sorry. Just to sat there, I have no excuse or no reasoning why I didn't contact you or maybe be there for you at the time when you needed it most. You know, I was maybe going through my own stuff, but none of that's good enough. You deserve better. And she's been the first person to just not defend, not justify herself, and just actually go, yeah, sorry, you actually deserved better. I messed up, and take responsibility for her stuff. And that's all we need. It's all we want. We don't want someone to be perfect or this or that, the other, rest of it. We just want them to be able to wake up to their own denials without defending themselves or justifying themselves. And that's only because we are majorly in that frequency of denial with the DID and the trauma, and for us to heal ourselves from that and to transcend those frequencies and to transcend finally those trauma frequencies, and for our past to fully be behind us and not defining our present anymore, we cannot be around those frequencies because like attracts like. So we'll just keep getting drawn back into those frequencies if we're around other people in those frequencies. So until we're healed enough in ourselves for that not to affect us, which God knows when that will be, but it doesn't matter because it's not the destination, is the journey. We can't have those people around us. And sadly, it means that some family members that we've done our best to have around us can't be around us anymore. We have to let them go. And we don't want to hurt them because we've done this a few times already and they haven't responded well. They've reacted, they've gone into their victim and their child. And we send so much love to them because we know how that feels and what that's like, because they're very close, they're our family, they've got similar trauma frequencies, if not the same on some of them. So we're going to do that soon. And we've got an uncle by marriage that we communicate with as well. So we've got a perfect small network of people to continue facilitating our development of the stunted age alternate personalities and brain networks. So I call it generational consciousness. So the stunted generational consciousness, when the different traumas have happened, once we completely separate ourselves from all of the frequencies that add to that, it doesn't mean we have to separate ourselves from all of the past. We just have to separate ourselves from the past people that still resonate with denial. And that's okay, because denial can be our friend, and that may be what you need in this lifetime, and that's fine. That's your journey. There's no judgment or criticism. It just means we can't be in each other's environments and we can't be in communication, basically. And I need to do that for me, for this host body, for all the alternate personalities. And I said I'm saying I more. That's fab. I is a noni snowflake. So I've got the healing message here. I'm going to read the bottom. So the bottom underline of the subconscious for this healing journey is respect your inner cycles and honor them on your healing journey. Wow. Wow. And the top one, the surface one of the conscious, avoid hateful thoughts, as they are just as hurtful as physically striking someone. And saying bad stuff to other people, I mean, it hurts them if they don't know themselves and they're in the victim mentality, yes, but if there's someone that's strong in themselves, the only person you're hurting is yourself, because what you put out is what you get back. So the card that actually came out, and we know this word because of it's what's good for the Capricorn, meditation. For meditation we call meds, and then meds is like medication. Yeah, you'll have to say, didn't you? Yeah. Okay, so what is it? Use equanimity to calm your emotions. We can tell you what that is right now, though. But it's what's good for Capricorn: meditation, equanimity meditation, and great compassion meditation is good for Leo, and cause and effect meditations are good for the Aquarius energy. And we have all of these in us. I'm not going to put that there because I don't think you can read it, even if it is there. No, there's no point in having that there. But what we're just going to do, we've done the wording of why we've got here, to how we understood the cycles and the patterns, and now we're just going to end on these three. And they're the lyrics from the sound healing that we've got with our transmission thing, channeling that we're doing at the moment. We've got 2 to follow: play and flow. Transmissions. Hold on. Just had to do some clearing in the body there, and it wants to do more. We don't want to do more, and it's not appropriate to do it now, but we had to do it to get on to the next stage. And we're just going to bring our leg thing, because our left leg is reacting to tumble. And our left leg is the left for the female and present, but holds you up, and it's the bottom half, which is male. So it's the past, because it's the bottom and it's your legs and it keeps you standing. So it's your past, male past, female present. And it's all the patterning. So your collarbone you can't do anything about, but it's all the subluxing and the hypermobility, which is another gift of the EBS, because if we didn't have that, it wouldn't be so easy. And that's why smoking is good, because it slows us down to get us out of here into here, to slow down the breaths and slow down the energy and the patterning in the body, so that we can then move it. Okay. And try it. Blow when you breathe. Blow up one of your sides of your cheeks. Wink. So I've got that eye closed and that open. So that means that's narrow and that's wide. So it's that same thing that we showed the card at the start. So if that's wide and that's narrow, we want this to be narrow and this wide. To get that wide, you blow it up. So put your tongue just behind the top of your teeth and pump up that with that eye wide, and then swap. Really hard, but yeah. So it's just understanding that the only constant is change, and to micro the change and the movement. But movement, sound and breath in the body is how we clear the blockages in our tubular body. Transmissions. Time. Time. Time is you. And you are a vessel of time. Will you befriend time? Will you see time as your conscious ally and companion? Your constant forever companion? Time is you. Will you befriend time? Create with time. Redefine your time to redefine you. Respond. Listen. Traffic warden. Direct. Decide. Allow. Make your moves on time. Make your moves. Make your moves. Time will reflect you to yourself. With every year you move through, and every year a different you. Surrender. Learn to play with your rhythms. Learn to play with its rhythms. Rhythm has your two hips moving. Rhythm has your two hips moving. Surrender. Learn to play with its rhythms. Feel the changes and let go your habits. Let time be the blank canvas on which you shape, create, and configure your next great adventure. One heart, one mind, one soul, one body, creating your path through time. One mind, one heart, one mind, one soul, one body, one singular, unique journey through time. Because time, become time, and time becomes you. It urges you within the chaos of it all to find your still point. Because there, within the stillness, time's a furious, glorious momentum is creating for you all of the time. Generating and generating, crafting, creating, generating and generating. Time is a power. Time is a power for you to join with, a fire to harness, reflected light you can dance with. Let time seduce you back into life, and then let life remind you of the gifts of change that time guarantees you. Will you create with time? Create. In time, you become you. With time, you become you. And what clarity came to us, one of the moments was time only exists in this 3D dimension. But these human bodies are matter. They are three-dimensional. So our body is time, because if time only exists in the 3D dimension, because it's in your left brain past and future, but it's your right brain for present, then it's only that this body is time constantly moving, fluctuating, ebbing and flowing. I don't know, I say that now, it doesn't really make sense, but one of the altars gets it full on. It's like, yeah! Space. We're surrounded by and held within, beautifully lost in the vastness of space. Look around. We're surrounded. We're moving through time. We're gliding in the vastness of space. We're flying. We're flying through space. Look around. Feel. Feel the space. We're flying. We're flying, surrounded by and bound unto and found within the vastness here in space. Are you in the space you need? Create the space you need. You are in the space that you need. You are the space you need. This is yours. Welcome home. Welcome home. And for that woman, it says at flying, I was just thinking of the John Livingston Seagull book that they got us to read out. So all the books that we've read out, all books that we've needed to read out for us to listen to now, but they read out stuff in the book to describe for us what's going on in that moment. And there's a 3-hour one that's up on YouTube now. We've only watched it halfway through, but it's they call it an experiment, and they read page 3 and page 44 to 48 of, like, I don't know, 10 different books, 11 different books, or a certain amount of different books. And it's just such a beautiful story, and it's just like what was going on for us in that moment and what we need to clear, because what we say or what we speak affects us in the moment, because we are kind of so aligned or something. Very fascinating. And we're just going to get clearer and clearer and produce stuff that's like amazing. We're just going to create and write and draw and play. I think it's drawing and creating and doing sacred geometry is the next one to do. Transmissions. Peace. Peace is a place. We never left. We dive into peace. we return into peace. In the silence inside, we find peace. In the silence inside, we find ourselves, our whole selves. We are everything and nothing. We are peace. We are breathing peace. We are laughing peace. We are crying peace. We never left peace. We never left peace. In the silence inside, we release. In the silence inside, we release ourselves, our whole selves. Then the peace starts to rise, overwhelms, fills, expands. And we are laughing with peace. We are smiling with peace. Peace is a place we never left. In the silence inside, we find peace. We find ourselves, our whole selves. We are breathing peace. We are laughing. We are smiling. We are crying. Peace. Until we are nothing but peace. We never left peace. We never left peace. Our curl's coming back. Our hair all needs to be cut and needs doing. There was a little girl who had a little curl right in the centre of her forehead. And when she was good, she was very, very good. But when she was bad, she was horrid. And then there's Buck's Fears. I had a friend who came to tea. No one else can see but me. Came today, but had to go. To visit you, never know. So, I always get this wrong.